AD at Southern Miss. Jeremy McClain joins us right now. And, I mean, there's so much to get to. I do want to start with this, though, because off the top of our heads, we could not come up with a time where a school or a football program was able to hire the head coach of the team that just won their own conference's championship. It's a little wordy, but that is exactly what you did. How are you able to pull that off?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and visit. I always enjoy it. And, there's a lot of excitement in Hattiesburg right now for the reason that you just mentioned. And, we were very fortunate. Let me just start with, I think no matter what the business is, relationships always matter. And so I think for us that helped. Charles and I crossed paths 4 or 5 years ago and had a chance to see each other at league meetings and various places. And so when the situation arose where our job was open, and I think he began to realize that, he needed a new place to start and to move to, that, those things just started to come together. And that relationship really helped us get to a place where everybody felt good about it.
And Jeremy, from that point, you talked about momentum and excitement. How much of that has carried over into NIL for you guys? Because we all saw the results. We saw the great transfer class that Coach Huff was able to put together. Obviously, those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do, and it's definitely had an impact. We interestingly enough, if you guys hear a little bit of road noise, I'm driving right now to the coast for a fundraising event, and but there is a renewed excitement around the program, and I think that does, it's no secret for anyone who's in this business or any other business. When you're successful, having those conversations become a whole lot easier. And so for us, it certainly helped us begin to have some of those conversations, get some people involved who either haven't been involved or maybe have drifted away for one reason or another. It's given us a great opportunity to re-engage some people. And so I definitely think it's had an impact. I think, for us, maximizing that opportunity is certainly important. We've been focused on that. And, I do think that's going to pay dividends for us.
We talk a lot on this show about the college football playoff, and, it's obvious something's going to change there. And we hear from the SEC and the Big Ten and what they want the college football playoff to look like. What does the Sun Belt want the college football playoff to look like going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for us, I think access is what is most important for us, quite honestly. And I think we fought really hard, and I really mean the group of five, right? But we fought really hard to get to a place where there was an access point, and people were willing to say this makes sense. And so I think for us, as we think about priorities when it comes to the college football playoff, certainly everyone's concerned about revenue. We're living in that world where revenue has to be top of mind really at all times right now. So I think access to the playoff is what's really important for that best group of five program, out there. And as you guys have seen, I think there's some group of five programs that can compete in that playoff. And so I think that's important as we go through these changes to make sure that every program, when they kick off in September, that they have a chance to be a part of the college football playoff.
So you're less concerned, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong here, it sounds like you're less concerned about what the Big Ten and the SEC get in terms of auto bids, as long as the group of five gets their access point. Are you okay with the auto bid thing that's out there? Or because it sounds like that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, this is going to set – selfishly, I'm most concerned about access to the playoffs. We could have a long discussion about what I think is right and wrong when it comes to a couple of leagues that are, flexing their power right now, if you will. But I don't really get caught up in that because I don't have time to worry about it. My concern, like I said, from a priority standpoint, is that, we continue to have access. I certainly think, and I'm sitting in a different seat, but I'm not as concerned about expanding the playoff as some of the other leagues are, obviously, in earning auto bids, and I understand their position. I don't fault them for that. So, but when you see it through our lens and when you sit in our seat, it's really about, again, having the opportunity to compete on the field. I think adds a completely different element than, I mean, we can use March Madness. You can use, college baseball regionals and super regionals. The opportunities to actually decide things on the field, I think, just make the game more enjoyable for everyone.
For whatever it's worth, Haydad and I are both on the record. We hate the SEC and Big Ten getting 4 auto bids. We think it's an awful, awful idea, and we can't stand it. For whatever that may be worth to you, we're not fans. The House.
Well, I would not argue against you guys in that case. But like I said, I realized a long time ago that me spending my energy doing some of those things is probably not wise.
So in this day and age of college football, and we're going to have Zach Selman on tomorrow, so we'll have to ask him about this too. But, it feels like there's a push away in some cases from facility enhancement because you want your fans making their donations to your collectives to get NIL up and running. But that being said, last year you announced that there's going to be enhancements and a renovation at the Reed Green Coliseum. How is that coming along for you guys, and what was the impetus behind that decision? Because like I said, there's only so much money to go around. You got to tell people where you want it to go.
I think that's exactly right, and I think you'll hear most ADs say that that probably emphasis has changed a little bit from facilities to hey, how do we reinvest in collective and rev share and the things that we're having to deal with now. However, and this is the case for us when it comes to Reed Green Coliseum and our basketball programs, there is a threshold you need to get to, and so for us, that facility, although it has great bones and has served us well, was well past its prime. It was time to reinvest and bring it up to date. And so there are going to be some things that we still want and need to do from a facility standpoint. I think some of the bells and whistles are going to begin to get cut out and really focus on the things that are most important for us. And certainly that's where we're at with this project. And it's a project that we've been, planning and working on for quite some time. I expect that we'll see dirt being moved in the summer of 2025, and it'll be about a 2-year project for us. Going to be somewhere in the $35 to $40 million range, and again, much needed for us. It's something it's not a situation where we're doing things that, hey, this might be nice to have. This is more of this is going to be our home for the next 30 years. Let's figure out how to get it where we need to be and make sure that we're doing all we can for our basketball programs. And a great example of that is the fact that we're going to build a training facility, a practice facility, that would be attached to our arena, which is something we've needed for quite some time.
The House settlement may or may not come this summer. We'll just have to see, I suppose. But everybody getting ready for revenue sharing. And we've gotten this question 100 times about how you look at the story comes out today about how Georgia's going to spend their $20 million in revenue sharing and how they're going to distribute that. Obviously, from your perspective, you aren't having to find $20 million to pay your athletes. What does that look like, though, for Southern Miss and for your Sun Belt counterparts, and how you have to handle revenue sharing and distribution and how much money that you have to give to that?
Yeah, great question. And I think for us, I'll just tell you from Southern Miss perspective, and I think this really applies across the board as we think about our other Sun Belt schools. It's all relative. Take away a zero, move the comma. We're going to be participating in rev share. We're going to continue to participate in the collective, which I think we've done a really good job of here at Southern Miss. So we're going to continue to do both of those things. It's just going to be at a smaller level, at an amount that is less than what we hear from some of our SEC, Power 4, whatever the term you want to use, brethren. But, so for us, the challenge for us is a lot of those places you're talking about have operated in a situation where there was some fat on the bone in their day-to-day operations. We do not operate with fat on the bone, right? So we run a lean operation already. And so what they have done is to go in and really try to be more efficient, reduce some things they've been doing, and reinvest some of that money into rev share. So for us, we don't have the ability to do that. We really have to go out and raise additional dollars to be able to fund the rev share portion of this. And so we absolutely we'll opt in, we'll be involved in rev share, we'll be involved in the collective as we have over the past couple of years. It'll just be an amount that is less than what we're hearing in some of the news articles.